Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Mr. Bridwell here, bringing you the first edition of the April 13th to April 17th remote learning. So, I just want to first start out and tell you that I miss and love you all. Um, I've gotten better at taking the trash out when it needs to, being home more, being able to see it more. I perfected that skill. I know I talked to you guys about how I struggle with that sometimes, and look at me being an adult, getting a little bit better. I hope all of you are doing well, overcoming the challenges during this challenging time. I'm missing all of your faces in class each and every day. Seeing you in the hallways, some of the jokes that we shared, but more importantly, just being able to be around all of you and the connection that we've built this year. It's definitely missed. It's something that I don't want to say I took it for granted, um, but I did. Now that I'm here and all I want to do is be back in the classroom with all of you, and we can't. It's just one of those things that um, it's a real struggle, and I'm sure that all of you feel it the same way that I do. So I just wanted to let you guys know that Luna, which is my dog here, she's chomping at the bit to get up here and see who I'm talking to. Berkeley and Tay, Mrs. Bridwell, they're upstairs. Berkeley's it's time for her bath time. They'll say hello in a video here sometime this week. They'll probably say hi in our Google Meet tomorrow. So let's get into today's assignment or this week's assignment. Matter of fact. So we get into this. First thing you need to do is get on to Google Classroom. And as you can see, the assignment for the week is already posted. April 13th to April 17th, remote learning. Okay, so when you go ahead and open that up, it takes you here. Okay. The directions. And in the directions is a link to the YouTube video, to my YouTube channel, where you can find this screencastify as well as many other videos. So here's our directions for the entire document. Follow the learning plan for each day. Follow the steps in order to attain mastery of the content and skill for each day. Okay. So on Google Classroom, I just want to show you guys the specific directions here, as well as some general information. And to do that, we need to open up this assignment. Let me show the instructions right here. We'll circle it on the screen. It says, follow the directions for each individual day of learning. There are 3 days of learning in this Google Doc. There are 5 steps to master the content and the skills. I'll be on Google Meet, and I will post the link for this Google Meet at about 10:55 or 10:50 on Google Classroom, and I will send you a message on Student Square. Our Google Meet will be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please feel free to join this session, ask questions about the assignment for the day or the week, and discuss the content. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you learning about? I'm here to have some of those conversations that we would normally have in class in that Google Meet. And I'm also here to simply have an educational conversation. I do not want to talk about Call of Duty Warzone and whatever other games, because I simply don't have the time to play them. But if you would like to talk about COVID-19, if you want to talk about some of the current event things that are going on, as well as the content, I'd be happy to have that conversation in that Google Meet as well. Or if you just want to come and say hello quickly, and then you want to get back to work, feel free to stop in and say hi. All right, so when we get into the assignment, April 13th, that is tomorrow, Monday, April 13th. The learning material, step number 1, is going to be about Mao Zedong. So we're going to start out this week by looking at the Chinese Revolution and the Korean War. To understand the Chinese Revolution, we first need to understand who was behind the Chinese Revolution. Who is the father of modern China as we know it today? And who led China from those dynasties and that imperial period through Japanese internment, like we were learning about before quarantine happened? And how did China emerge as this powerhouse that we know it today? Mao Zedong was responsible for that. Our state standard is 7.1.15 and 7.2.2. Our lesson objective today. By the end of this lesson and this Google Doc right here, these 5 steps, you will be learning about Mao Zedong, the communist leader who led China from persecution during World War II at the hands of the Japanese to being one of the strongest countries in the world, military and economically. Your activities today, okay, you have 3 of them. The first one, you're going to watch this Edpuzzle, and the link is right here. When you click on that Edpuzzle, it's going to take you here. Loading, loading, loading. So when you get into Edpuzzle here, the title of the video is simply Mao Zedong, and this has already been assigned to you. So when you get in, you will click on the video Mao Zedong. When you click on that video, it's going to take you in. You can see the due date for this is Friday, as well as all the other work. When you get into it, you're going to have multiple choice questions. And I know that some of you are going to see the correct answer there, so I'm not going to show you too much. So you get into the video, and as you can see, it's 5 minutes long. And there are going to be 7 questions here during this video. As you watch, and we've all done an Edpuzzle before, okay, so make sure you have headphones or a quiet room. Set your phone aside and just kind of focus here, like you're in class. When you think back to what Mrs. Quinlan said on her announcements, if you didn't watch those, please check those out on your email and on Parent Square as well. And so you'll watch this. It's 5 minutes. There are 7 questions. Once you have watched this, I will see that you've completed it, and that's how you'll get your credit. When you come back here after this video, you're then going to read this Newsella article, which will correspond with the Edpuzzle. Okay, so the Edpuzzle is going to be like part 1. The Newsella article is going to be part 2. So when you click on the Newsella article, this has been assigned to you as well. So when you pull it up, you're going to read the article. Once it gets going here. I'm sure all of you are going to have the same issue with slow Wi-Fi. Some of you complained in school how the Wi-Fi could be slow at times, and now you're seeing it from another way. So you'll see that this assignment's been posted April 13th to April 17th, remote learning. When you get into it, you will see that the first article, let me pull it from another view. Sorry, guys. Update on my wife. She is 33 weeks pregnant, which means we have about 7 weeks to go. Although we could realistically, in about 3 weeks, 3 weeks have a baby. They say anywhere between 36 weeks and 40 weeks is when you're going to give birth. So we're anywhere from 3 to 7 weeks away, which is really crazy to think about. All right. So when we get into that text set that's been assigned to you, you're going to read the article titled The Chinese Revolution of 1949. Okay, so when you get into that article there, The Chinese Revolution of 1949. This is going to detail Mao Zedong coming into power, leading the revolution, the communist revolution in 1949, which kind of ushered in this new age. Okay, now obviously your lexile may be different than mine. It just depends on what you work at. So as you're going to read through this article like we've done numerous times before. You're going to read about Chiang Kai-shek. You're going to read about the PRC. You're going to read about Mao Zedong and him coming into power. You're going to read about how it was two sides, a democracy and a communist government. And the reason that the communist government won was because they were focused during World War II on getting the Japanese out of China, when the democratic government was focused more on keeping power, maintaining power over the communists, and not as much about the Japanese. We know how bad the Japanese treated the Chinese, and so the Chinese people wanted Japan to be out of their country. Because the communists made that their mission, the communists received the power of the people. And when they received that power of the people, they were able to maintain control. And we'll talk about that more during our Google Meet tomorrow. So as you read through, you'll read about Mao Zedong and how he took control. So back to our Google Doc here. That's our first two parts, the Edpuzzle and the Newsella article. After you've read this, your critical thinking question says Mao Zedong is thought of as the father of modern China. What did he do to earn this title? Okay, and I want you guys to make sure that you restate the question here. So you would say Mao Zedong is the father of modern China because, and then you're going to tell me what he did to deserve that title. If you think back, Gandhi was the father of modern India, and Gandhi was the father of modern India because he pushed for the people's rights. He ended the social classes and the division of people based on where they fall, whether it's a Kshatriya or the untouchable, right? Or the Dalits. Remember, he donned the cloak and he really brought India into that new age. Mao Zedong is going to do something similar, although Mao Zedong not typically thought of as, in a world sense, on the same level as Gandhi, and you'll understand that a little bit more as you read through as well. As an optional work here, if you have time after you've completed the Edpuzzle and the Newsella article, and you would like to watch CNN 10, some current events, feel free to answer this question. What did you learn from current events today? Just simply give me your overview of what you watched. What did Carl Zeus tell you about? And so that will end your learning for Monday, April 13th. Should take you anywhere from about 25 to 30 minutes, depending if you watch the CNN 10 article, which could take you longer. Okay. So take a little break from there before we get to Wednesday's assignment. I want to talk to you guys about the Soar Matrix. And you watch that video, Mrs. Moss and Mr. Walpole talk to you guys about this Soar Matrix. You've seen these posted. We've talked about expectations. And when you're at home doing this remote learning, you still need to follow some expectations. And I want to go over a few of those with you. So safety, ownership, attentive, and respect. Let's go through a couple of the important ones as we look at this. Make sure that you're washing hands and maintaining social distances. If they don't live in your house, you shouldn't be visiting them. That is the recommendation by the governor. The best way to keep us safe and flatten that curve. Keep your login, passwords, and private information to yourself. Understand, anything you do on the Chromebooks is recorded. If you give someone else access to your stuff and they do something, you can be responsible for it. Keep that to yourself, please. Take good care of your Chromebook. No missing keys, no things like that, because most likely we're not going to be able to get it fixed in a timely manner. You're going to miss out on some learning. So make sure you take good care of your Chromebooks. Keep them away from liquids, water, Gatorade, soda, whatever you're using. Try to keep those away simply because a spill can be a disaster. Use technology and equipment as intended. Avoid and report inappropriate sites and unsafe use to an adult. Ownership. Come to class with a Chromebook charged or plugged in. When you wake up in the morning, your Chromebook should be charged, and your Chromebook should stay charged for the whole day. Make sure you have it plugged in, charged at night. Have all the materials needed. Make sure that when you look at this Google Doc that you maybe go through and open all the links ahead of time. That way you know they're loaded and they're ready to go when you need it. Attend Zoom and online meetings on time, right? So my Google Meets are happening from 11 to 12. If you have a question, be there at 11, ready to ask that question, or to have that, or to just um, uh, discuss the content. Ask some questions that you have after reading about Mao Zedong. Complete and turn in all your assignments. Every Monday night, I should be able to check Edpuzzle and check Newsella and see that you've completed the online work. When I go into and look at Google Classroom, I should see that you've completed Monday's work. Now, I've given you the whole week's worth of work in advance. That means you could complete Wednesday's assignment and Friday's assignment early because some of you only have one Chromebook at home. I wanted to give you time to work on those at your own pace. Reach out when help is needed. If you have a question, don't just skip it. Send an email about it. We're here to help you be successful. Attentive. Stay on task and choose a distraction-free space. This is sometimes a problem for me. I don't have a desk in my house. I don't have a designated office. So a lot of the times I'm sitting in a recliner on the couch with a TV playing on the background. That's a lot of the times how I do my work. During our Google Meets, you're going to see that I'm going to be at our kitchen table. I'm going to be limiting the distractions that I have because that's the best way to learn and that's the best way to be successful. Try to do the same if you can. Ask questions, voice or chat when you have them. Don't be shy now. Part of remote learning is you taking the individual responsibility for your learning. If we were in a classroom, you guys know I would be on top of you, telling you to, hey, you need to get on work. Hey, get off the game. Hey, I can see you. You should be writing that down. Well, in remote learning, you may not have anyone there telling you and reinforcing you to get to work. You're going to have to take that responsibility on yourself. Make sure that you're ready to do that. Follow teacher directions the first time, right? In a Google Meet, if I ask you all to be quiet, if I ask you all to get on task or to do something of that nature, please do that. Be present and avoid multitasking. Put your phones out of reach. If it's out of reach, you won't be tempted to reach and grab it. Put your phone on the charger in another room while you're having a Google meeting or a Zoom meeting. And that will, again, reinforce and help you stay on task. And last thing, respect. Use kind words and faces and be positive. This is a distracting time. We don't need additional distractions during these meetings. Video on at all times. Listen attentively when others are speaking. One thing about Google Meets is a lot of times, unless I mute all of you, which I will probably do most of the time, the person pulled up on the screen will be who's talking. If there are multiple people, it's going to be popping from screen to screen to screen. It'll be distracting. And so please make sure you follow directions. One speaker at a time, wait, or use the chat to respond when others are talking. There is the chat feature. Type your question, and I'll be able to see those questions and be able to relay responses as we go. Okay, so hopefully that answered some of your questions about expectations as we go. So let's get into Wednesday's learning. So just like Monday's learning, April 15th, 2020, your learning material is a continuation from Monday's assignment, Mao Zedong and the Chinese Revolution. You guys should have built a little bit of background information about the Chinese Revolution on Monday. But we're going to continue that in the actual cultural revolution in the 60s that led all the way into the 80s. And you guys will probably find this interesting because students had most of the power during this time. The state standard is 7.2.2 and 7.4.3. Your lesson objective. Today, you will be learning about the Chinese Revolution from a democracy to a communist state led by Mao Zedong, who you learned about yesterday. Your activities today. You're going to watch this Edpuzzle and answer the questions. Okay, so when we look into the Edpuzzle here, just like our previous one, let me get back here. And be titled Chinese Revolution. When you open this up, this is a little bit of a longer video. It's 7 minutes and 55 questions, and you guys have 9 questions to complete as you watch this. And this is a part of a crash course with John Green. So I know he talks quickly, so you may need to rewatch some of it. Closed captionings are on. I highly encourage you to put them on because he does talk quick. Okay, so you're going to watch that Edpuzzle. And once you're done with that Edpuzzle, the Edpuzzle you just watched outlined Mao Zedong's rise to power and the Communist Revolution in China in 1949. Mao Zedong and the PRC took control of the government of China in 1949. But the other great Chinese Revolution, the Cultural Revolution, occurred from May 1966 to the early 1980s. After you've watched this Edpuzzle, you're then going to read this Newsella article. And your Newsella article this time is titled The Chinese Revolution. Let me go ahead and get back to the screen. You might be able to hear Berkeley up there. She is ready to read some books. So again, it's titled Mao's Cultural Revolution, All You Need to Know About China's Social and Political. So once you open this up, again, your lexile, it will be dependent on where you're at. And this one's going to be reading about the Red Book, reading about how students took control, how some students jumped their teachers. If a teacher spoke out against Mao Zedong and spoke out about communism, that student had the legal right to beat their teacher up. I just want you guys to know that I'll be ready for that. And so, Fletcher, I know what you're thinking right now. Why is that not here? And, hey, it just is what it is. No beating up teachers here in America. Okay. So you're going to learn about what was the Cultural Revolution, whose idea was it, and what was the aim? How exactly did it start? Who were the Red Guards? This is an important section right here. And then what happened next? After the Cultural Revolution, what was the lasting effect? What was the Little Red Book, which is number 2 on printed books in history? The number 1 most printed book of all time is the Bible. And number 2 is the Little Red Book, which is pretty cool. And then when did this Cultural Revolution end? And then how does the Cultural Revolution remembered today? The picture of Mao Zedong is still hanging in Tiananmen Square. He's still considered the father of modern China, and the Cultural Revolution played a major part in that. So after you've read the article and you've clicked over here and you have taken the quiz, I'm not going to show you guys the answers here. Well, I'll show you the answer for number 1 here. But what 2 sentences from the article include central ideas, right? So you're going to read reading about those as you go. Okay, so back here to our remote learning, you have a critical thinking question to answer. And here's your question. Describe the cultural revolution of China in your own words below. Include information about the Little Red Book, the Red Guard, and other key information that you think is important. Simply put, what happened? Make sure that you restate the question. Okay, and again, as additional or optional work, you can watch CNN 10 for Wednesday's work. And now let's get to Friday. Friday is going to be kind of our end of China, end of East Asia, and looking at how did communism continue to play out. Communism was a big player in the USSR and Russia. It was a big player in North Korea. It was a big player in China, and it was a big player in other countries around the world. Still today, countries, socialism and communist ideas are present. We look at the Vietnam War as one. We look at Venezuela, which is a socialist government today, and so communism is still around, and the Korean War was a result of that. So Friday's material, the Korean War. The state standard is 7.1.18, 7.2.2, 7.3.3, and 7.4.3. I know that's a lot, but this touches on a variety of areas. Your lesson objective. Today, you're going to be learning about the causes and effects of the Korean War and the creation of North Korea and South Korea. We've talked about this in class a few times, but I wanted you guys to get an in-depth look. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to watch the brain pop. And here I put down the username, Southport Mid, and the password, all caps, MSDPT. Okay, when you go there, you're going to take the quiz, you're going to do the vocabulary activity, and explore some of the other ones. You're then going to screenshot your score on the quiz and insert the picture here, next to the letter I, right here. Insert that picture. All right, so let me go ahead and show you guys what that'll look like. So we click on the Brain Pop link. We take it here. All right, first thing we need to do is log in. Southport Mid, all caps, MSDPT. We go ahead and log in. When you log in, from here, you're able to, number one, watch the movie with Toby telling you guys a little bit about the Korean War. There is the movie transcript and a full description down here. There's some additional videos about communism, North Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. Feel free to look at all of these. Feel free to go back here and look through any of the brain pops and all of them that you guys would like to learn. Okay. So from here, you're going to take the quiz, 10 questions. You'll choose the graded version, like so. You will then answer questions 1 through 10. When you get to the end, it'll show you an overall score, 1 through 10. You'll take a screenshot of that, doing the control, and then that button right above the 6 that looks like a square with 2 lines to the right. You're going to click that, screenshot it, and add it in. Okay, so for that, I'll just go ahead and add this screenshot in now. Right, I take a screenshot. You see it shows screenshot was taken. I can go back here, go to where it says insert. I would go up here where it says insert, image, upload from computer. It should take you to your recent documents. Mine are from downloads, but easier to go to recent. When you look at recent, screenshot taken, open that bad boy up. Feel free to shorten this picture, right? Make it fit. I'll be able to see the screen, and there you go. Quick, simple, and easy. Now, back to our, once you're done with the quiz, you're going to look at the vocabulary. And this vocabulary will be used throughout the video as well. So when you look at the vocabulary here, you'll be able to look at all of these. You'll be able to flip them flashcard style, write in the definition, write in using it in a sentence. Okay, so practice with all of that. And then if you go back, like let's say we go back to the Korean War section here, feel free to play any of these activities in any of these games that are here. Check out the worksheet. Check out some of the games that go along with it, like Time Zone X. And you'll be able to play any of these games related to the Korean War. Okay? So, after this, you're going to read the Newsella article. And when you, again, log into Newsella, it's a part of the assignment in the text set that's already been assigned to you. So when you open this one up, see if we can get it going here. All right, we'll go old-fashioned way. All right. So again, you're going to get into Newsella, and you should see that the third article is there. And the third article is titled The Korean War, right? So make sure that you're following the link that is there in the Google Doc, in the remote learning, April 13th to April 17th, remote learning Google Doc. The links are all there. You shouldn't get confused. It should take you directly to it. But let's look at it here. The Korean War and why there are two Koreas. You're going to read this article. You're going to answer the questions just like we've done on for Monday and Wednesday about the Korean War. Okay. Again, if you would like to and you have additional time, watch CNN 10. And this link right here will take you to the YouTube channel for CNN 10. Make sure that you subscribe to that. Also, please make sure that you have subscribed to my YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, I'm going to post video updates. I'm going to post specific explanations of, like, if we're in a Google Meet and someone asks a really good question and needs explanation for one of the articles. I'm going to use YouTube to provide those explanations and answer some of the questions that you have. So I'm at 62 subscribers. I was already at about 30 before this started. I have 175 students. This number should be around the 200 mark, at least by the end of next week. Make sure your friends are subscribed and ready to watch. Again, this video is going to be posted tonight, hopefully within the next hour, detailing this week's assignment. Okay. So, give you guys an idea. After this week, give you a little quick snapshot here of what we have going forward. This week, we're looking at China and the Korean War. Next week, we're going to begin our look into Africa. You guys are going to be tasked with learning the countries of Africa, and I'll explain that in a different video as we go through. But we have, as a quick snapshot, all the days for the rest of the year are already planned out. And we're still doing some fine tuning here, but understand that April 20th, countries of Africa. You guys are going to be watching a little documentary and learning the 54 countries of Africa. We have all that ready to go for you. You guys are going to be looking at on April 22nd. Again, look, you guys are looking at some vocab and some Quizlet. We've used, you're going to have a vocab Google Doc and a Quizlet activity there. April 24th, we're going to start into some ancient African kingdoms, which a lot of you have read about already in our Africa building background question assignment I posted back in March. And then we're going to look at Islam. We're going to look at some additional ancient African kingdoms through an interactive web quest. And then we're going to look at modern Africa. So we're going to look at colonialism, Belgium. I'm going to ask you guys to watch the movie Tarzan. So if you guys want to go ahead and watch that now and get ready for it, you'll be able to watch it again. Both the Disney version and the live action version. You guys are going to talk about, we're going to talk about the slave trade, the triangular trade, and how Africa and the early United States connected via the slave trade and this thing called the Middle Passage. You guys are going to be learning about, once the screen picks up a little bit here, the partitioning of Africa and imperialism. How was Africa divided into the territories and the countries that we know it today? They're not states like the United States. They are independent countries. And that'll make sense why we do that. And then from the week of May 13th, you guys will really like this assignment, this project. May 13th, May 15th, and May 18th, you guys are actually going to be building a presentation over one of the 54 countries in Africa. You guys are going to be looking at some of the heritage, some of the history, the geography, the government, the social structure, the music, the arts and architecture, some famous people. You guys are going to be building a major presentation that we're going to post online, that we're going to have access for. You guys are going to be building things that are going to impact other people and other students in a positive way. It's going to be a fantastic group project, and I know you guys are going to crush that. And then we get into the last week, we're going to look at some conflicts in the Middle East. So we talked about multiple conflicts in the Middle East this year through our current events. And so we're going to look at the area of Mesopotamia. We kind of started the year there, and I think it's only right that we finish the year there. Okay. So again, Google Classroom. You have this Google Doc assignment on Friday or whenever you get done. If you, let's say you get done on Thursday or you get done with all three of these assignments by Wednesday, submit this on Google Classroom. It is worth 30 points. It is going into Skyward. Make sure you have this turned in for a grade. Okay, well, like always, this is going to be end of this video, this screencastify explaining April 13th through April 17th remote learning for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And like always, I miss you. I love you. If you have questions, please reach out. During times like these, we need to stick together and not be divided. And I know that all of my students that I had in class, each and every one of you who are watching this video, are amazing students. And I just miss you guys so much. So have a good rest of the day. Have a good week. And let's be successful as we go through this remote learning for the rest of the 2019-2020 school year. Miss and love you guys.